Hello ITC family. Today I'm going to talk to you about a concept called orality and ocularity, and I'm going to talk about how that concept connects to the work that we're going to do in our exegesis class. This is connected to the quality enhancement plan of ITC based on our SACS assessment. We've been talking about using this metaphor of Sankofa, going back and getting from our past to affect our future, to bring jewels into our future. And one of the ways we are talking about Sankofa is to connect our oral past and our oral culture with ocularity. So let's talk about what we mean. Oral culture is what most of the world over most of history has always had. It's a culture based on relationship with one another. It's based on storytelling. It's based on culture and community right here, right now, contemporary. It is not abstract, it is not literary, it's very concrete, it's very grounded, and it's based on what you can know and see and do right now in community. Things like proverbs and stories, mama wisdom or mother wisdom, hard head, soft behind, head make book, all of the kinds of proverbs people might have heard over time, that comes from an oral culture. African American culture has always been oral, and even when the slaves first came to this country, it was a very, very oral culture. The culture of the classroom tends to be primarily ocular. Ocular culture is based on literary knowledge, things that you can read, things that you can see. Ocular culture tends to ask for the abstract question, the experimental scientific knowledge. So you see, ocular culture is often unimpressed with the stories of oral culture. And oral culture doesn't often understand why ocular culture can't just tell us a story. Most African Americans live in both of these cultures to some extent or another. Most African Americans have a strong oral culture and an oral history they come from, particularly if you're part of the black church. But also because you've done school all of your life and you have a bachelor's and you may even have a master's already, most African Americans also understand the importance of book knowledge, of abstract thinking, of the kind of work that you might do in a typical classroom. The work of exegesis for the church and for the community, not so much exegesis for the academy, but for the broader community and for the church, is the blending of oral and ocular. So you'll be doing ocular work. You'll be looking critically and literarily at the text in its historical context, its social context, its literary context, its cultural context, its ideological and theological context. And that's very book learning, focused, abstract thinking. But your job is not to leave it on the page. Your job is to be able to translate what's on the page for the community of faith. And so you will be also engaged, whether you write a paper, whether you do a project, in connecting the orality of your own community with the ocularity of your research. So that's what we're going to be doing in exegesis class this semester. And the reason I'm giving you this video is you will begin to hear about the QEP this semester. And you might be wondering what's the connection between the QEP and exegesis. And now you know.